Hi everyone, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. Welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina Pike. I'm so happy that you're here today. I'm going to talk about a couple of different projects today, wrapping up some things from October, Knittober, and I would love to have you sit down and just chat with me and spend some time with me. All right, the first project I'm going to talk about today has been a project that started on October the 8th, and I've been doing it's a mystery knit along. There were 4 clues. The last clue was just released on October the 29th, and I thought I would have this wrapped up by the end of October, but I had a surprise and it took me a little bit longer, so I hope you don't mind me posting or wrapping up Knittober here at the beginning of November. But it just took a little bit of time, and once I show this, I think you'll understand. So the first project I'm going to be talking about today is Stephen West's Shawlography. Now, you guys have seen my other clues. I've shown you clues 1, 2, and 3. I put the links down to those videos down in the comments below. I also want to mention before I show this that this will be a spoiler. So if you are knitting this and you do not want to see what it looks like, please just skip. I've got timestamps for my other projects that I'm going to be talking about down below. Just skip this, and so that won't spoil the surprise for you. But if you guys have been watching his videos, you guys have seen what clue 4 looks like, and he did not disappoint. I'm so excited about this clue. Let me show you quickly what it looks like from the back, and then we'll get up and show. Okay, here we go. This is it. This is clue 4. This is the finished shawl for Shawlography. And look at this border that we knitted. I mean, look at all these. This is the final clue. The final clue. Clue 3 ended at these little crisscrosses, and he gave us 2 options for this clue 4. You could do a bind off right after the crisscross and wrap it up, do an I-cord bind off, or you could knit this fabulous border. And who was I? I could not resist this. This brings all of the colors back into play. You're using every one of you got 5 colors for this shawl. I'm using a yarn from Amanda Hope Yarns. I'll put a link down to her shop in the show notes. And this yarn is so soft. This is an Aussie extra fine merino blend with, I think it has a little bit of nylon on it. It is wonderful to knit with, and this was one of the kits she sold for Shawlography. This is a lot of teals with the chartreuse pop, and I have enjoyed knitting with this so much that I think I'm going to use the same colors for my second slip stravaganza, which I'm going to start maybe next year. I haven't decided completely, but I am considering it. Anyway, these are the colors. So again, we had let me go back and start a little bit from the beginning, and then I'll wrap up the clue 4. So again, this was my color 1. This was the first clue, these ridges and everything, colorful wedges, beautiful. And I talked about that in the first video. Then the second video, the second clue, oh no, this was the first clue still. Then we went on to these slip stitches and the slip stitch color work. This was my color A, this green, acid green color. That was my color D, that was my color E. My color E was the lightest. My color D was like a medium blue. My color A was my chartreuse pop. And then my color B is this dark teal color. So anyway, those were just some slip stitches, and then we ended clue 1 again with these I-cord shrimps. So people calling them really cute, textury. I've never seen anything like it done before, but really interesting. Then we started clue 2 with this beautiful slip stitch color work. That was my color A and my color D, and just some easy color works. And we did the welts. which you can see are very textured pockets. It's kind of like folding a piece of fabric over, and you kind of did. I talked about that in that video. Then we did these beautiful slip stitch color work triangles. This was my color C and my color B. And then we ended it with that ended that portion, that section, with a bobble stitch. A unique way to do bobbles. This isn't done like how you would do noops or bobbles, like a 7-stitch bobble. This was done a little bit differently, kind of more like an I-cord. I talk about that and a tip for doing that in my video for that clue. And then we ended clue 2 with these beautiful wedges on each side of the shawl. That was my colors E and my colors D. And you can see the contrast between those. And it wasn't garter stitch, it was alternation, so it gives it a little bit more texture. There's some stockinette in there with some garter stitch ridges. Really pretty, really simple, but a lot of knitting, because clue 2 went from the shrimps all the way to here. That was a lot of knitting. So clue 3 took a little bit of a break on us, and we did this brioche. Now this is the brioche ribbing. He gave us, I used my color B and my color A, and he gave us the option, if you didn't want to do brioche, you could do this beautiful mesh lace section, alternating the same colors, but it's just mesh lace with some eyelets, and it was really, really pretty. It was a struggle for me to figure out what to do, but in the end I did the brioche. You can see the color, the other color on the other side. It's a beautiful ribbing. It opened up nice and kind of squishy fabric, and I picked the brioche because I'd never done brioche before, and I'm like, I wanted to learn something new, so I did the brioche instead of I think I actually prefer the mesh lace, the look of the mesh lace pattern more, because I love lace. But I think I'm glad I did the brioche just to challenge myself and to learn something new, and to say that I have done brioche now. But you can see what that looks like. I will show you the back side after I get through talking about this. And then we ended that clue 3 with these crisscross sections. Very simple. Just the hard part about it was moving the loops on your knitting needles. And I talk about that in my clue 3 video. Now here we are to clue 4. Now again, you could have wrapped it up right after these crosses. I saw a lot of people doing a lot of different variations. I saw some people adding garter stitch. I saw some people making the crosses again to make it a little bit bigger section and then ending it. I saw people doing modifications. I saw one person even bring in a honeycomb knit section where it kind of goes back to what was done for last year's mystery knit along with Slipstravaganza and those honeycombs, and then they finished it with a picot border. It was beautiful, very creative. I just stuck with what he did because I was trying to support the vision of his shawl. And again, these are you bring in all the colors, all 5 colors. And the way I ordered mine, let's see, we started right here on this end, and I did color E. He said you could do them in any order you want. He was doing lightest to darkest, so I just kind of followed his lead. I did lightest to darkest, and the way that it falls for me is this is my color E, is the lightest, then my color C, then this is my color A, my chartreuse pop, and then this is my color D, and then this is my color B. My color B is the darkest. So, and then you just do it all over again with color E, color C, color A, color D, color B, and you just go, I just go in order, and there was like 50 of these. Now what took this was very simple knitting. If you can see, this is just garter stitch knitting. At the ends, what made it a little bit more complicated, but it wasn't complicated, is that you see these crosses. You had to pick up 1 stitch every other row to connect it to that. So you're knitting perpendicularly to the shawl, and you're picking up a stitch, a cross stitch as you go along, and you can see how they attach. And just even make sure those crosses even stay crossed, because you're attaching it down below. And that's what the back looks like. And of course, you're changing the colors and weaving in the ends as you go along. Very neat, but it was a lot of knitting, because each one of these colors was like 7 garter ridges. So that's like 14 back and forth. So it's 7 times 2 back, because of back and forth. 14 different rows for each color. And there were 50, I think 49 or 50 of these colors. So it was a lot of knitting. I think there was more knitting on this than there was on Clue 2, in my opinion. This one took longer to me than it did for color 2. But if you guys know me, and then it didn't end like symmetrically. I wanted it to, like I wanted it to be the last one to be like color E, color C, color A. Then I have a D and B that I missed, but it didn't work out that way with the number, but it's okay. I think it looks really good. And that's just how it ended at the end. Oh, you are also binding off as you go along. So that worked out really awesome too. Like you're binding off the stitches as you go along and creating this I-cord here on the edge, which is very, very nice. And looks very, very clean and finished. And it's great because you don't have to go back and do it at the end. You're doing it as you go along. So when you got to the end, all you had left to bind off was this section here. It went around like this. So you had this section here to finish off. And then you did the Kitchener stitch here at the end with these last few stitches here. Kitchenered it together. There's 3 stitches of color C, which is the blue, and then 3 stitches of the color A, which is the green, and just Kitchener them together, and then you are done. And you got to, you've been weaving the ends in as you go along with the weave and Steven, and then you just had to block it. And the blocking was very simple. There was no pins. Basically, you soaked it, just kind of stretched it out. I probably should have made the top straight. The top also has an I-cord border along the top. So this has a nice clean edge around it with I-cords on the top, I-cords on the bottom. Really clean, very nice, very, very nice. And again, it was not hard to block. It was just soaking in some wool wash for about 20 minutes, gently squeezing the water out and laying it out and just kind of stretching it out and let some of this stuff open up. I did, like again, I did not block it aggressively, but you can see my colors did open up here. Opened up a little bit there and opened up a little bit. The brioche opened up a little bit, which is nice after the soaking. So you can see both of those colors. And then of course that didn't really have anything to open up, but just kind of moved out the fabric a little bit. Let me show you what the back looks like so you can see how clean everything is. You can see how this section here has the floats and here has floats, but you can see they're not, after blocking, they're not something I don't think is going to get caught on anything. They're kind of tacked down, really nice. This also has the floats here. This is the triangular section. There is a little bit there, but I don't think, it looks really nice and clean. And then the brioche section, and then the bottom. And you can see how I wove my ends in as I went along. You can see like right there, my ends woven. At the very beginning, I tried to weave the ends in as I went along. Because changing the colors 50-something times, that's a lot of ends to weave in, but if you do it as you go along, it's not that bad. So there you go. This is Stephen West Mystery Knit Along for 2021. Shawlography. And there you go. There it is. Thank you guys so much for letting me share this with you and sharing all the clues with you. And then all my little tips that I mentioned to make some of the things a little bit easier, like the shrimps, the I-cord knitting. Thank you for letting me share that with you. I had so much fun doing this shawl. It was fun to knit it with a group. There was like over 7,000 people in the Ravelry group, and it was fun to see all the different colors and techniques and how people would change things up. Again, there are a lot of changes to some people's shawl. Some people removed the welts. Some people, like I said, just finished it like after the cross. Some people added different things instead of doing this. They felt like their colors were too blocky and kind of stuff, so they merged it up. There were some people who even like gradient colored, like instead of doing a block of 7, they would do like 2 rows of blue, 2 rows of green, 2 rows of this color, and just made it more fadey. Really beautiful, really beautiful. Go check out some of the different variations in the Ravelry group if you're interested in seeing some, you know, creative ideas on how to make this different. Especially if you don't like the way that your colors are looking in this block section. I love how my colors are looking. I love all my colors. I think they all looked well together. But sometimes if you got like super bright colors, they might look a little blocky. So you can gradually introduce them together and make it look a little bit more striped and less blocks. So, you know, check that out if you're interested in doing something like that. But again, thank you for letting me share this beautiful shawl. It is really big. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's hanging down to my stomach. So it is a nice big shawl, and I had a lot of fun knitting it. So now we're moving on to the second project update I want to share with you. I started this project on October the 20th. This is the Romi Hill. It's not a mystery. It's a Romi Hill autumn fall knit along. So we know what the shawl is going to look like. I'll pop a picture in here. I'm using 4 skeins of yarn from Miss Babs. Now I'm using kind of colors with a lot of contrast. I'm using a pink, a green, a dark purple, and a red violet. And we have done 2 clues now. We have brought more of the mosaic color work in, and I'm so excited. I started out, the first clue is more like this center section with German short rows and yarn overs, double yarn overs, in this pink. This pink is called Honey Bunny. This yarn is Sonatina. It's from Miss Babs. It is a sock yarn, so it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Very squishy, interesting yarn. So again, we went to here as we started clue 2. We picked up all these stitches along this edge here and knit all the German short rows together. And then we brought in our color 2, which was this purple, this dark purple, and you can see the color work coming in. You can see the design coming in. And then we started even bringing in color 3 for me, which is this green, and that's called, okay, the color 2 is the purple, dark purple, and it's called Urang, and it's purple with a black. Here, let me show you what it looks like. That's kind of, see the purple and the black in there, really dark, pretty color, beautiful color. And this is like a wild iris color, I think, that for Miss Babs. So it's no 2 will look exactly alike, but she will redo this color, but no 2 look alike. And then my color 3 with the purple is this green, and this is called Terrarium. This is what this looks like. You can see there are some tonal colors in there. There's like some lighter yellow green, medium green, and a little bit of a darker green in there. Really pretty. So that's what clue 2 looks like. Let me show you, step back so you can see how the mosaic knitting is coming into play. Now, mosaic knitting is just slip stitch color work. I learned that, and you can see the back. I'll show the back so you can see how neat the back is keeping with the floats. It's not getting messy. It's there's not a lot of the slip stitch is pretty small stitches, so it's not like there's a lot of long floats that you're having to worry about tacking down. The stitches have been kind of 1 or 2 that you're slipping, so the floats in the back have been pretty neat. The one thing you do have to remember is when you're doing something like this, you don't want to knit it too tightly, so I'm having to try to remind myself to space it out. I'm even kind of knitting it, holding my finger down to keep the proper spacing so that my knitting doesn't get too tight, so that you can see the color work. Plus, I want to be able to block this at the very end and have a little bit, because there's going to be lace coming in for this next clue, and I don't want it to be too tight that I can't open it up and block it. So that's the one thing you have to remember when you're knitting this shawl, is that you don't want to make it too tight, so that you can't block it and open all this up. And have some lace in this, because even though this is solid with a little bit of the yarn overs, there's going to be lace after this. And you do want it to be blocked out. My shawl is going to be a little bit smaller than everybody else's. The yarn kits that she sold were 2 different places, but it was a sport weight yarn. My yarn is a fingering weight, so she recommended a US 6 needle for those. I'm using a US 5, so my shawl is going to be a little bit smaller than everybody else's. So I want to make sure I can block it and open it up. But I am enjoying looking at these colors. The next clue comes out today. Today is Wednesday, the 3rd. So the clue will come out this afternoon. Super excited to see where well, I know where she's going to take us. I'm excited because it's going to be more of this green, and there's going to be lace. There's going to be like a lace panel of the green. I'm not sure how far she'll take us on the clue. And then there'll be more of the purple. And then my last color that I'm going to use for this is this red violet color. And that's what that will look like at the end with the dark purple. That's how it'll end up. So I'm excited about that. I think clue 3 though will be mostly using this green and doing the lace work. So I'm excited about that, and get to see where that takes us and get to work on that in the next couple of days. So that is Bright October. It's still going on. If you want to knit with us, there's plenty of time to jump in. The pattern is a paid pattern. She has different tier levels of pricing so that you can pay what you can afford. Like if you can't afford the top price, there's a couple of coupons to take it down in cost so that you can afford to knit this with us. And she's doing Zoom meetings and YouTube videos to answer questions. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie, and enjoying doing another Romi Hill shawl. You guys know I love her and love her designs, so I'm excited about doing that. The last project update, I haven't done much on it, but I will mention it. You guys know I'm working on a crochet along. This is the Pick and Mix crochet along, sponsored by Lisa of Ladybird Loves. This crochet along is a blanket, and she has 2 spinny wheels. And what she does is on Thursdays, she has a live and she spins the wheel. One wheel is for the color. You have a main color, and then you have 4 colors. So it picks the color that you're going to be using for the week. And then the second wheel has a bunch of stitches, like 31, 32 stitches on there. And she spins the wheel, and that picks the stitch for us. So last week, I have not done this. I've been too busy with the Stephen West and everything, but I did start it. Okay, this is my color 1, the waistcoat stitch. You can see the brown is my main color, and I'm doing the extended link double crochet. The red is my color 1, and these yarns are all Lion brand Heartland yarns. Got them from, I think, Joann's or maybe even some off the Lion brand website. They were having a great sale on these, and I love Heartland. I love the colors. They're vibrant. They're so soft. So I'm excited to be knitting this blanket with this. Here's the length of it. I'm making a pretty big blanket, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to make these panels wider, because as you can see, this is 4 clues, and I haven't gotten very much on this height wise. So I may turn it this way and put a border on it and let it be vertical. I think that's what I'm going to do. It was suggested in one of my lives to maybe do that, because I was like trying to figure out how to add more height to it. Should I just start making the panels wider? I don't know if I want them to be wider, or if I think I'm just going to turn it vertically and keep everything the same. So let's get back to this. This is my color 2, this golden yellow. I think this is called Bryce Canyon Land. We did a textured wave. As you can see, there's some wave in there. I don't think I did it exactly right, but this is about me learning these stitches again. You can see the main color, the brown. The brown is Sequoia. Beautiful, has some gold in the brown, really pretty. And this is the textured wave stitch. And then my main color again. You could do the main color in between your different clues. Then the 3rd clue is the linen stitch, and this was in my color 4. My color 4 is this rust color. What is the name of that? I don't remember the name of it. If you guys are interested, put a comment down below. But that was the linen stitch. And then you do the main color again. And then the last week, which I'm getting started on this now, is we picked color. It was color 3, which is this beautiful green for me. And that color is, I think, Rocky Mountain. And it's this green, and the stitch is the bobble stitch. You can see the bobbles coming in. I'm not going to do the bobble stitch every stitch. I'm putting like 4 stitches in between each bobble. And then when I get on the next row, I'm going to put like the bobble here. I'm going to alternate them for my section. But that's all I've gotten done. I haven't gotten very much done, as you can see. But it is coming in, and that's what I'm hoping to do the next couple days and then work on my Romi heel. So that's what I'm doing this week. I would love for you guys to let me know what you guys are currently working on down and below. Are you wrapping up your Christmas presents? I know I've seen some comments where people are wrapping up their Christmas gifts. I have something I still want to start for Christmas that I haven't even started yet. We'll see. I've got to really get my time better under control. But that's all I really wanted to share today. Are these projects and wrap up Shawlography for you guys. Thank you again for watching all my different clues and supporting me and encouraging me even when I made mistakes. Yes, I made a couple of mistakes. Go watch my previous videos. I talk about that. Clue 1, I made a big old mistake, but I talked about how I fixed it. And then in the brioche, I did make one small little boo-boo, but I left it. I embraced them. And thank you for watching that and encourage me to move on past that and for letting me share that with you. I hope you're all doing wonderful. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, wonderful week. And if you are new here, I love to talk about knitting projects, current projects going on in the knitting world. I talk a little bit about crochet. I do hope to talk about more crochet next year. That is going to be one of my goals. Starting to think about goals for next year. I want to do more crochet. Doing this project has made me realize I don't know a lot of crochet stitches. I have forgotten a lot of crochet stitches. I did crochet for about 2 years before I jumped off into knitting, and I haven't really done a lot of crochet since. So I'm trying to hone up my skills, get that, keep both of those skills up, because I think it's important to be able to do both. So anyway, I would love to have you join me is what I'm trying to say. I do a little bit of both, hoping to make it more balanced, and would love to have you join our family here and let us get to know you a little bit better. For those of you who watch my videos time and time again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you all have a wonderful day, wonderful week. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care.